What is happening? What is good? What's up, Chrissy Johnson? What's good with you, girl? Welcome to another episode of B-Side Radio. That's right, not MDX tonight. No, change of plans. We had to go in a different direction tonight. We're bringing back the B-Side feel, the B-Side vibes. That's right, the B-Side Radio. Y'all like he corny, but y'all know me. I like corny. I don't know why we live in this this culture, this day and age where corny's bad. You know, like where people like frown on it, like oh, you corny. Like someone told me that, I'll be like, thank you. You know, I like, because here's the thing, I like being corny, I like being dorky, I like being nerdy, I like being just super uncool, because you see so many people breaking their necks to be cool, to be hard, to be raw, to be in your face, and I'm just like, bro, that takes so much energy to be to be that way. Like, but like, don't you like get tired of like, you know, trying to be something that you're not? So I just feel like I'm gonna embrace my like super hyper dorky side, and I'm just gonna ride with it and be and be who I am, and I never change that. But it's all good though. I love making like stupid jokes too. But anyway, that's besides the point. Anyway. Good evening. What's up? What is happening? What is going on with y'all? How y'all feeling tonight? So change of plans. Originally, this is supposed to be MDX Podcast Radio. You know, not like always. However, unfortunately, sorry, ladies, Danny won't be here tonight again. He got like a whole bunch of other things going on and whatnot and everything. We were gonna chop it up. It actually kind of works in our favor because I've been kind of lacking a lot on pro wrestling. I haven't really been watching anything too much, like, especially this week. I did not watch Raw at all. I did not watch SmackDown at all. I had SmackDown on in the background when I was cooking, but it was like whatever. And so I was gonna let him carry the heavy on that. But since that's not happening because he's not here, we're gonna bring it back to B-Side, baby. All right. So tonight's episode is going to be a little bit different than normal in terms of pace, in terms of how we normally conduct business. So next, for the first 20 minutes of the show, I'm going to be pretty candid. You know, I'm going to go over like, you know, my typical stuff, my typical spiel. We're going to do church announcements. We're going to talk a little bit about what's happening pop culture wise and all that good stuff and everything. And at 10:20, my co-pilot, my pilot, the co-pilot, Miss Benita, will be back with us. However, she'll be calling in, so it'll be via remote. But she will be calling in at about 10:20 tonight, and we are going to do a pretty kind of deep dive. This is a pretty hard week that we are experiencing. The Chicago acting community lost a very, very dear friend. Huge, heavy loss was took place this week. It took place over the weekend. Mr. Luis Sepulveda passed away, and we got the news on Sunday. We're gonna talk more about that when we get Benita on the line and all. But yeah, it was a really heavy weekend. You know, receiving that type of news and all. But as you already know, we always keep it pushing. We always keep it moving. You know, we do what he would have wanted. Just keep it pushing, keep it moving, keep it cool, keep it sexy. You know, and that's how we do it at B-Side, baby. So just anyway, thank you everyone for joining us last week. What's up, Ruben? I see you, boy. Thank you for joining us last week. We had a great conversation, great vibes. It was a great energy, great conversation. I highly recommend that you check that conversation out. Just to give you a little tease of what we talked about, in case you missed it. I put a question out there. Benita and Danny were both on the show. I put a question out there, and I'm a kind of like nutshell it for y'all. And what the question was, it was a relationship question, and what it was, all right. So let's say you're a guy, all right, and you started dating this one woman, right? Y'all been going good and everything like that, and things are good. So for the first 4 months of the relationship. The guy's been cheating. Had to my picture real quick. The guy's been cheating. He was cheating on his girlfriend with another woman. And so after about 4 months, he stopped cheating. And, you know, started to be like, okay, I'm gonna be very monogamous with my relationship. After I can't remember how many years we said it was. After about 4 years into the relationship, they decided that they were having some hard times. They had kind of like a rocky situation, and they decided, let's take a break for a while. All right. So they took a break for a while, and in that break only lasted for 1 week. After 1 week, they said, you know what? Let's reconcile. Let's work this out. Let's make it happen. Let's get back together. And after that 1 week break, he finds out that his lady stepped out. Not only did she step out with another dude, but she, for a lack of a much more explicit term, gave him some head. And so he finds this out, and it's like, oh shoot. So the question was, should he have forgiven her, or would that be a deal breaker for the rest of the relationship? Considering the fact that he did his dirty the first 4 months of the relationship, but that was 4 years ago. So, so are they even, or is that a deal breaker? I don't know, but tell me what y'all think. Go ahead and check that last episode out of B-Side Radio. If you need for me to send you the link, I'll send it to you. Just let me know, and I got you on that. But that was a really, really good conversation that we had. We chopped it up, we clowned and all that good stuff and everything. And there will be many, 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 many more type of conversations like that if we decide to go further with this platform. And speaking of platforms, special shout out to Earl Winfrey and Wanda B for giving us IntellectualRadio Radio, an amazing, beautiful platform for us to be able to come here, be creative, create our content, and be able to really, put out there what's really on our minds, what's really on our hearts, what's really on our souls, and really be able to help one another via the mics. These mics are very, very powerful, people. I see y'all. Quan, what up, boy? Melissa, what up, lady? Johan, what up, man? What's good, bro? Johan in the house. That's what I'm talking about. So, before we get things started, I just wanted to also remind everyone that this episode is sponsored by who else? I wonder who. B-Side Studios, right? Y'all like, dang man, this dude keep talking about that brand. Of course I'm gonna talk about it. It's the brand, it's the lifestyle, it's the future, what we have here in the city of Chicago. I am not playing with y'all when it comes to what we got cooking, what we got boiling, what we got popping, what's happening. This really is going to be a turn of the best when it comes to Chicago artistry, when it comes to filmmaking, when it comes to just, just overall art that's happening here in the city. And I'm telling you, it really is going to make a lot of noise and everything. As you guys know, last week I announced that I started a new company titled B-Side Casting. It's going to be a new casting company that's going to be established here in the city of Chicago. It's already like, everything's already solidified legally and all that good stuff and everything. We are just getting things started when it comes to revamping the website. And once that's up and running, we're going to be asking actors, asking artists to please submit all of your information to that website. We get out the clients and we can get that ball rolling. I'll get into more details about that when we get closer to the launch date, which will be coming up in a few weeks, because I saw a little bit about the construction of the website looking really nice. So we're definitely on the right track. And speaking of right track, I told y'all, let's go Raptors. I'm telling you, I know they lost. I get it. I know they lost the other day. All right. I know they lost on Monday, but that ain't happening though when it comes to the overall series. All right. I told y'all from the jump that this is going to go 7 games. All right. So at first I was like, oh man, y'all should close it out at 5 games. I would take the L. That's cool. But I'm like, you know what? Nah. This is gonna make the victory of winning the Larry O'Brien Trophy, winning the chip, even that much more special. And so I see what they're doing. They're trying to really make this make this a legendary series. We already know that tomorrow when Game 6 happens, it's going to take place in Golden State, back at the Oracle, and we already know Golden State's going to take the win on that one. Totally understandable, totally get it, right? But it's all about Sunday, all about Sunday when they go back to Toronto and they win the chip. I am feeling confident about this win, for real. And I know it's like one of those because I low-key kind of have the kiss of death whenever it comes to anything I like. Whenever it's seriously, it's like whatever I like, whenever I'm like, oh man, I want that to happen, it will never happen. I want that team to win. It never wins. This is why I'm a Bears fan. I'm a Bulls fan, because we haven't won in like, I don't even know how long, in like forever. But I still rock with the losing team. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna say this. I don't know what it is, but anyway. But this time is different though. This is different. All right. The way, because even with the last game, they weren't playing bad. You know what I mean? Obviously, like Golden State, they got the upper hand on them and everything. I think the only time they played bad was just like that last like what 2 minutes of the 2.5 minutes of the game, where when they had a really a pretty comfortable lead, but I think they might have gotten a little bit comfortable and they didn't realize how close they were to the end. And then that's when, like, kind of like, things kind of slip, because even that last play, and I was talking to Emmanuel about this as well too. That last play was really weird, the way how that was ran. It just didn't feel right. It didn't seem like they were really clicking on the same page or whatever. And they treated that last play as if that was like a play in the second quarter. And I'm just like, where is the intensity? Where is the sense of urgency? And plus, I believe they had one more timeout left. It's like, dude, call timeout, but none of that even happened. But that's okay though, because as we know, Golden State would get the victory on Thursday. And by the way, speaking of KD, yeah, thank you, Quan. Yeah, with KD, dang. I mean, man, trust me, I understand what it's like to have the heart of a champion. I get it. I totally understand that. I get it. I respect it. I completely embrace what that mentality, what that lifestyle, what that life really is like. But bro, man, like, I mean, you just added so many more months. They're talking about 6-7 months, of recovery time because of his Achilles. And y'all know, man, like when the Achilles is gone, man, that's almost your career. I mean, this same thing happened with Kobe as well too. And seeing that happen with Kevin Durant really, man, that hit hard, man. And frankly, to be real with you, I was very surprised that he even opted to play. Like, I get that, like, he was cleared to play and all, but even just because you're clear doesn't mean like you're ready to get out there. And I think that he already kind of had set in his mind, like, I'm not coming back for the rest of the playoffs. And so, like, when what happened, and then they had to kind of like, fast track him to get back on the court, then it was slower, like, oh shoot, what do I do? So he was kind of put in this really odd situation that he kind of had to go out there. And I get that, there's a piece of him, of course, that's saying, like, this, I love this game too much, I'm gonna go out there and play. But you gotta think about the bigger picture here. And I'm sorry, New York Knicks fans. I mean, that may hurt the possibilities of him becoming a Knick next season. But we shall see. We shall see. And we shall see on Sunday Toronto winning that chip and bringing home to Toronto. Daniel Monte, I see you, boy. I know you're hype, boy. I see you on that, though. But it's going to happen, bro. Don't fret. It's going to happen. All right? And speaking of happening, I wanted to talk about this before it became big. And now it's like the biggest story right now in hip-hop. I don't know if hip-hop is just like really slow right now, but this story is like would not go away. It's the whole thing that's going on with Tyler, the Creator, and DJ Khaled. Now, before this whole thing blew up to what it is right now, where we are with these two, I wanted to, and we didn't have time to talk about it because everything was happening so fast, but I want to talk about which album better, because they drop in the same weekend. Khaled dropped the Father of Assad album, and then Tyler dropped the Igor album. And personally, my favorite, I preferred the Igor album. Father of Assad was not bad. It wasn't a bad album. It wasn't it wasn't really my flavor. I think someone summed it up best when they said the Khaled album is like when you see someone with a really loud outfit on and they're wearing all name brand. So they'll have like a Supreme shirt on with a Gucci belt buckle, with some Jordans on, with some True Religion jeans, with a Bulls hat on, wearing like wearing some designer coat and whatnot and everything, wearing a chunky chain, just really super loud and wearing all types of just clashing unnecessary brands that's all over them, just super gaudy. And I thought that was the best way to really describe that album, because I mean it's like if you chop it up into 16 different pieces, that album is pretty fire. But as a cohesive whole project, Yeah, it's that noise. That noise I just made right now. So so you see how I'm saying, but it's not bad. That's the thing. It's weird because it's not a trash album, but it's just like, and when it comes to cohesion, it doesn't really mesh. However, Tyler's stuff, it really is a work of art, and I really believe that Tyler is doing um right now in terms of his musical intellect what Kanye typically does. And what I mean by that is that you cannot hear two Kanye albums that sound alike. None of his albums sound exactly alike. You can take Late Registration and 808 and 808 and Heartbreak, and they both sound like completely different projects. You could take College Dropout, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, two totally different projects. You could take Ye and you could take The Life of Pablo, two completely different projects. They all sound very different. And where Tyler is right now, I feel like he rounded that corner in terms of maturity as an artist, and he really has found his groove with this new way of how he is as an artist. Before, like when Tyler and them were putting all the mixtapes out, the Odd Future mixtapes, and Wolfgang and all that good stuff and everything. They just developed their core audience that way, which is very smart. And then when the guys started getting more into album mode, I think what was that the album that he had Yonkers on? I can't remember. What was the name of that album? He had Yonkers on. I can't remember what it was. But that's when you started to see that he was starting to get a little bit more serious, with his craft. And then Wolf, I love the Wolf album. People don't really talk about the album, but the Wolf album was really good because that told a really dope story overall. Like, when we listened to the entire project, I was kind of on Cherry Bomb, but I think Cherry Bomb was just really different because that's when you started to see him starting to turn. That was kind of like when the caterpillar goes into his cocoon. All right, he's in his cocoon. He's now starting to matriculate and really starting to change and whatnot and everything. And when Flower Boy came out, that's when the butterfly came out of the cocoon, and we saw, wow, this dude is this brother really is a genius. And you saw all of it right there within that project. And then Igor just solidifies where he is right now and whatnot and everything. But what's interesting about this whole thing with Khaled and Tyler is that it's like a part of music that you don't really pay too much attention to. Like, granted, like, that there's that definitely, like, you want to be number one when it comes to the Billboard spot and whatnot. But it's really interesting. Number one, these two, I believe they're on the same label, and they both did not get the same treatment when it comes to when it comes to the album being rolled out. Tyler got significantly less marketing, whereas like Khaled got a significant amount of marketing that really was trying to push his album out. And the end result showed that Tyler came out on top, being the number one album. And Khaled took a lot of issue with this, and now there's word that Khaled is Khaled, he started throwing a lot of subliminals to at Tyler and at his project and whatnot and everything. And a lot of people feel it's bitter. I feel there's a little bit of bitterness to that, but at the same time, though, I also kind of think, and shout out to Daniel Monte for bringing this to my attention, that he had so many features on that album that album was super expensive, like mad expensive. And when you hit that number one spot, you get a ton of incentives, like financial incentives, to be able to reward you for your success. And he lost out on a lot of those incentives, and that means he's gonna lose out on a lot of money paying these artists and whatnot and everything. So I feel that a lot of the energy is more business. So because now he's out here, he's talking about he's going to sue Billboard and all this stuff and everything. A lot of uncharacteristic things that we don't typically see of Khaled is happening right now, in terms of his fight against the label. Because I guess Billboard was supposed to put out some bundle packages, which they never did, and all that stuff and everything. It's like, when you really read into like what happened, it's a whole lot of bullet points that you don't necessarily hear about. So it's kind of like, I do encourage you all to read up on this whole situation and see like what it's about, because you get a lot of gems to see like how this whole thing operates when it comes to how crazy this music business is and everything. But we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, like I said earlier, it's a slow week in music, so they're really making sure they pontificate on this issue right here. Kwan said, "Don't forget, DJ Khaled has a couple of reggae artists." Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And that's things that I'm I'm not discrediting Khaled at all, in terms of like, what he does. There are some things that about him that I have some concerns with or whatever, but that's a whole different conversation and whatnot and everything. Real quick, just some news, just letting y'all know, this weekend, shout out to the cast of Rat Mom. We start filming this weekend. I am nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs because it's supposed to be on and off storming this weekend. And oddly enough, wouldn't you have it? This is like the one weekend of Rat Mom where we're filming outside, both Saturday and Sunday. And of course, when me making the schedule a month ago, I'm like, oh, the middle of June will be beautiful outside. You know what I'm saying? Especially on a Saturday and Sunday. Sunshine, all that good stuff and everything. Sunshine, birds singing, blue skies, white clouds, all that good stuff and everything. And plus fact, it don't stop. It's like not stops raining here in Chicago for the last like 85 days. So they talking about it's gonna be sunny tomorrow, sunny on Friday, but scattered storms Saturday and Sunday. Monday is gonna be nice. Tuesday gonna be nice. Rest of the week is gonna be nice. But it has to be those 2 days though, where it's gonna be scattered thunderstorms. So I don't know. We're gonna see what we can do about that. I really want to film. I really want to start this whole thing up, but we gotta see though. So shout out to the cast of Rat Mom. We're gonna get busy this week, baby. I'm telling y'all, man. Woo! Oh, and also check it out, Peep Game. Your boy got picked once again to be part of WakandaCon. So I will be at WakandaCon next month, taking place at the Hyatt over at McCormick Place. It's gonna be the last weekend of July. I'm not thinking about the dates right now, whatnot, and everything. I did recommend to them to put me on the panel either on Friday or Sunday of that weekend. So if you're gonna be at WakandaCon, come holler at your boy, come see me, come through to the panel discussion. I'm gonna drop a bomb on y'all, tell you what the topic is gonna be. So the panel discussion topic is gonna talk about, are men and women of color represented the right way in professional wrestling? Oh, woo! Tell me that ain't a cold topic. Tell me, I dare you to tell me that ain't a cold topic, boy. Woo-hoo-hoo. We want to get woke up with that bad boy. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna do that and everything. So be on the lookout for that. If you're gonna be able to kind of come holler at your boy, you know what I mean? We'll get a picture. I even might put you on the panel, might mess around and get you talking up there. All right, all right. So check it out. We're gonna take a quick break, probably about a minute and 9 seconds. Everyone on Facebook Live, please do not go away. I will be right back in a minute 9 seconds. Everyone on IntellectualRadio.com, please do not go away. If you gotta get back, welcome back. We are back to B-Side Radio. I am your host, Mr. Maurice Profits. Thank you very much for holding. Thank you very much for staying with us as we are going to get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's conversation. On the line right now, I've got Miss Benita, my co-pilot. She is back in the studio, but through the phone. Say what's up, Benita, to the good people out there in Intellectual Radio.
How's everybody tonight on this rainy Chicago day?
Oh, man, I was just saying like how annoyed I am about this whole rain situation. Seriously, come on, like Benita, for a co-sign with me. Doesn't it feel like it's been raining for like the past 85 days?
It sure has, man. I mean, I'm not one that likes heat, like super humid weather, but I like to have a little sun, get a little color in, and I just have my driving arm color right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, come on, we get it. It's like the snow would not leave. It would not stop snowing. It was still here in April.
Yeah, that was a couple years ago, man. That was crazy.
Right, I'm still sitting around chilling and everything, and now we have this rain situation. We're in the middle of June right now. It's still out there like Noah's Ark. Come on, man.
I know, for real.
Yeah, wild stuff though. So at the top, I'm not sure if you heard B, but at the top of the hour, I did kind of touch on the meat and potatoes of this conversation that's going to be happening tonight. When it comes to the we this past Sunday, we received some really grim, really unfortunate, really sad, very heartbreaking news. In terms of a good friend of ours in the Chicago acting community. His name is Mr. Luis Sepulveda. And we received some news that he passed away over the weekend. And, this was, obviously, losses are never in any capacity. They're never easy to deal with. I don't care who it is. But this one really, was, I mean, like, to say it was a shocker it's such an understatement, because that it was just like, it was earth shattering. Like, when we got this news, and it's nuts, man, because like, I was like, I was getting dressed. I got dressed well and everything like that, and I was gonna go run some errands. And I was gonna go, like, do a few runs and whatnot and all that stuff and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was feeling pretty up, and I was feeling pretty good. It was Sunday afternoon, you know what I mean? And I just so happened to look at my phone before I was leaving out the door. I so happened to look at my phone, and I see Ruben Ramirez.
Yes.
Shout out to Ruben Ramirez. He hits me, and I see his message saying that Luis died. And I'm like, whoa.
That's when I saw it too. Yep.
Yeah, and then I saw that, and then we had the conversation in the group chat, that was going on and everything. And I'm not playing with you. For the next like hour and a half, I was just sitting there at the table, texting all y'all. I was going through my phone and everything like that. And that's the thing, is that this is what I'm talking about, is that this was someone. And granted, we didn't know him too long, but from what we did know of him, was so impactful. And
absolutely.
And like, people come in and out your lives, at various times, and there's various reasons as to why they come in and out your lives and everything. And I just was like, man, this, like, I was like, trying to, make sense of everything as to, like, why, because he really was like on such a great path, in terms of, like, getting himself together, turning things around and everything. And, even, before he passed and everything, like, like I'm saying, like, he really did leave like such a great indelible impression on all of us, who've been with him. And you see that consistently with everyone who has talked about him, since Sunday. Everyone says nothing but great things and everything. So, it really was hard to deal with that. How are you dealing though?
How am I? Man, when I first heard it, I had got back from church, and I was with Christian at his house, and we were going to have lunch or whatever. And I looked on my phone, and I'm like, wait, what? And like you, in the group, I was texting back, and I'm like, wait a second. No. Our Lewis? Like, I put an ownership, like our Lewis, the one that we were going to use for our thing, And I'm like, no. And then I was like, I went on his page, and there was nothing. Everything I tried looking for him, I couldn't find anything. And then I found, Ruben posted that thing from that other guy, and I started looking at that, and I started like frantically searching. But man, I just started crying. I lost it. Yeah. I lost it. I instantly started crying, and I was on and off for probably about 4 or 5 hours, thinking about stuff or whatever, because I understand how that feels sometimes, and you just, it really, it hit hard. It hit home because of the interaction that we had with him for his audition. It was really it was raw. And I had always thought to myself, like, could I have done something? Could I have done more or whatever? But then it was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. And this was I hate, like, because ever since it happened, all I can do is reflect on the situation, and just reflect as as an overall. Sadly, this is not me personally. This is not my first dance when it comes to losing someone to by suicide, and and it's with depression being the kind of like being like the hitch to it, and being that trailer that's attached to it and all. And it just really makes you think about really where you just never know where people are, in their lives.
You never know.
Mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. You just don't know, where they are. And that's why, like, that was like the first thing that came to my mind. Well, that wasn't the first thing that came to my mind, but like after some time of like, kind of like generating some thought about this, it really made me think about, man, there's so much. And this is why, like, this is why okay, like I used to be a jokester. I used to be a clown. I used to, like roast people heavy, mercilessly, if I got you to shed some tears, and there was a victory for me. I was
Right.
I was that guy, who would go in on you, with with the heat.
Jokes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But I got to a point where, and it wasn't really so much about anything that happened to me directly, but I started thinking about a lot of things like, man, like life really is really hard as it is.
Mm-hmm.
It really is not easy, and a lot of people are not prepared for this thing we call life, and because of that, everyone is dealing with so many battles on their own that they don't need anyone. They really do not need anyone else, especially you, Maurice Prophet, to add to something that they have to like endure, something they have to deal with, some type of like hardship, or something that's gonna remind them to be sad. So instead of that, why don't you kind of wean away from that and whatnot and everything? So I really have kind of pulled away from that because you don't know what someone's dealing with. And instead, what's really is best is to like add to encouragement, add to love, add to just like some type of like positive insight, because people need to hear that. And a lot of times you think about it, people don't hear it that often. Have you ever like actually like said something like nice to somebody and they didn't really know how to take it because it was so like, well, okay, wait, why are you telling me good morning? Why are you telling me I look nice? Why are you telling me I did a good job? Like, they don't really know how to take it because they live in an era where negativity is what is so expected, and it's so normalized. So I feel that a lot of times that we kind of get lost in that negative loophole. We have to remember, what, just a little bit of positivity, just a little bit of something can really go a long way for somebody who might be dealing with their own battles. And I'm not saying that it had someone like contacted Luis and said good morning to him, then things would be different. Not saying that at all or anything, but I just know that every little bit helps, when you are just with people in general. Every little bit helps. Every little small little kind just goes so incredibly far. And you just and it really does do it does wonders for both you and the person receiving it as well too. Because I'm like you and I were talking about the other day, like depression is no joke. Like that
you just don't know,
joke, man.
You don't know what someone else is going through, and the way that it's so easy to just post something nasty on Facebook and to criticize somebody or whatever. It's so prevalent now. And what we see on the news, everything around us is so negative that when someone does say good morning to you or holds the door open for you or is kind or something, sometimes people don't know what to do and it throws them off. You know what I mean? But it's true, like what you said, is that depression is real. It's hard to detect unless somebody knows or something like that, but it's always best to just be kind.
Yeah.
It's always best to be kind. There was a point in my life where I was depressed and I didn't know it. I didn't know. This was probably about maybe like about 9 years ago. I was at a point in my life and I was just going through like the motions. I was just going through the motions of things. A lot was going on. I was in a relationship that wasn't. I was actually married and going through a hard time with that, and it just, I didn't know what to do, and you just kind of go through life. And a friend of mine said to me, "Is everything okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, everything's fine." She goes, "Something's different." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Is everything all right at home?" Because I kept my private life private. And I was like, "Yeah, this and that is going on or whatever." And she's like, "Well, how do you feel?" I'm like, "I don't feel anything." And that's what I told her. I go, "I don't feel anything. I'm just," she's like, "You don't feel happy?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't feel happy. I don't feel sad. I'm just kind of going through life. I'm just kind of doing things or whatever." And she's like, "You're depressed." I'm like, I ain't depressed. I said, if I was depressed, wouldn't I feel depressed? Wouldn't I feel like bad? I don't feel anything. I just feel numb. She goes, Benita, you're depressed. I'm like, whatever, and I went home, and there was one moment where I remember it vividly to this day, that I was standing at my kitchen and this thought came to me: why don't you just cut yourself to see if you really feel something? And I sat there for a moment and I contemplated it, not cut myself to like end my life at that moment, but cut myself just to see if I feel it. Right. And then another thought came to me. It was like, and if you don't feel it, what then? What next?
Right.
And I remember I just started bawling. I started crying. And I was like, God, help me. What's going on? This and that or whatever. And I'm like, help me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I don't feel anything. Like, what's going on? Am I really depressed? What is it? Because I'm always like a happy person and this and that. And, everybody who knows me I'm always a happy person. And I looked at the TV and there was this thing on there for like therapy or whatever. So I had looked through, I did some research and I found this number for this lady, and I went to therapy for like 3 sessions. And she basically was like she basically called me out because I called her out. I'm like, listen, I'm coming here to therapy. I don't want you to repeat what I'm telling you. That's not what I'm paying you for. I want to find out what's going on. What are my root problems? And I want to get them fixed. And she called me out on my stuff. And that's when I really got my life together. I realized that I was going through a bad time in my life. I didn't know that I was depressed. And I was able to, thankfully get through it and find a new career and just start myself and leave that relationship and just, start something new.
Yeah.
But it's serious. And I mean, there was a time prior to that when I was 19 when I lost my leg to a hit and run drunk driver. That's what the whole encounter thing that we were going to do about, that Lewis was going to be part with us. And my boyfriend at that time had said that I was no longer sexually attractive to him and broke up with me and all kinds of other stuff. And at 19, I mean, what do you really know about life? Right. You're still trying to understand yourself. You're still trying to get accepted. Your body's changing. Everything's changing. And there was a time when I remember I was at home with like my mom and I had lost my leg and all these things. And then hearing that and then knowing that I used to do gymnastics and, had thick legs and all this kind of stuff. And one day just snapped in me. I'm like, well, I'm going to take these pills. And I took my stepfather's heart pills. And I just laid there. It was the afternoon. My mom was in the next room. My mom was home. My brother was home, everything. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to take these pills and I'm just going to go,
Wow.
What do I have to, what reason do I have to be alive? I lost my leg. I'm no longer attractive. I'm this, I'm that, or whatever, all these lies. And I remember, no joke, I heard these sounds like this growling on one side in my ears, like almost like demonic voices talking. And on the other side, I heard like peace, like peaceful voices talking to me. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Like, help me, God. I don't want to do this, And back then you had the phones that you had to dial, the landlines. Remember those landlines?
Yep.
You had to punch in. So I remember I was already like, I could hear my heartbeat slowing down. I tried talking. I was slurring. Somehow I was able to call my cousin. And I heard myself where I couldn't talk. I don't know how she understood what I said, but I told her what I did. And I told her that I didn't want to do it and to help me because I couldn't get up. I couldn't physically get myself up.
Right.
And I remember that I dropped the phone and I'm laying there and I'm petrified because I didn't want to do it at this point. And then I heard an ambulance come I heard the ambulance, and I heard my mom scream, "No, not my daughter." They ran in the room, you know, and my brother was there and my mom was there, and I think my stepfather was there. And the paramedics came in and they're like, "No, she doesn't have a pulse." And I'm like screaming in my head, like, "No, I'm not dead. Like, I'm alive, you know?" And they were able to revive me and made me drink that stuff, like the charcoal that makes you throw up all your pills.
Right.
And they left me in the hospital. And what the most embarrassing part was, they had to leave me in restraints. They had to put a leather restraint on my left leg because I didn't have a right leg. And they had to restrain my right arm. And yeah, a lot of stuff was happening then too. Besides my accident, my parents were going through divorce. I mean, like all kinds of stuff. And let me tell you, you know, it's serious when we see our friends or people that we love, or even strangers that may look like they're sad. It's so important to just, man, show them love, give them a compliment, something, because you never know where somebody's at. And if someone has someone that passed away or is going through some hard times, man, just reach out, and not through a text. You know, that's so impersonal. Just reach out and be like, "Hey, what's going on? I'm thinking about you today." And if they don't have time to talk, leave a message, you know? It's real serious.
Let me ask you this question real quick.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us, especially like, you know, kind of like in our age bracket, we came up through the old school, the old school way of bringing up, you know, like if something was wrong, or, you know, we were always told, just suck it up and just deal with it. You'll be fine. Just get through it. You know, like we're always told just to, you know, just to deal with it. And obviously that, I don't feel that's really a healthy way. That's a healthy way to respond.
No,
you know, to somebody who really is saying that they need some help and whatnot. Do you think that because now it's much more out there, it's much more visible, it's much more now that it's a much more normal conversation to be able to be upfront and be honest about this, that things may turn around where, you know, people will come up being a little bit more sensitive to other people's needs emotionally, and kind of like unlearn that that old school way of just dealing with it and just fighting and just deal with it and you'll be okay? Like, do you feel like there's a turnaround, you know, there's a turnaround that's happening right now where people will be much more cognizant and much more sensitive to those emotional needs?
Yeah, I do. I really do think that mental illness is much more openly talked about now, and depression as well. Because some people that go through depression are actually bipolar and they're undiagnosed. And sometimes you'll see somebody that is very happy at one point, and then within a second they can just drop. And some people think it's just mood swings or depression that they're going through, but a lot of times it can be undiagnosed bipolar. I have several friends who experience that themselves, you know, and there's always help for that. And I think that I think now with everything going on in the world, that it is more talked about openly. I would never say to someone, "Well, just suck it up," you know. And like you said, when we grew up, you didn't hear of shootings in school. Kids weren't diagnosed with ADD, ADHD. We didn't. I mean, I went back to my high school, and there's like off-duty police officers there now. You know. It's not like it was when we grew up. Kids are really, and young adults really are stressed, are really stressed now. I don't know if it's because of media is so accessible now that they see so many things and they look internally at themselves that like they don't measure up to what they see in the media, you know? There could be so many things. Sometimes families are not staying together anymore, you know, and that puts pressure on people. Adults, you know, trying to hustle and make money for your family. You know, there's so many external pressures now that we didn't go through back then. Maybe because we were young that we didn't notice it and our parents did. But now as an adult, I see the world differently.
Right. You know, you brought up, there's a couple of things you brought up that I thought was really interesting. You know, going back to like school shootings that you mentioned, I remember the first school shooting that I was exposed to was Columbine.
Me too.
That was 99, and that was massive in terms of like the way how that was talked about and such. But nowadays it's so like it's almost like, oh, another school shooting happened. Okay, oh man, that's messed up. You know, like you're sad, but you're like, oh, but you're able to keep on going and everything. And like you're right, like, you know, it really is showing that, okay, there really is a problem that's inherently happening right here. And we kind of tie it and connect it with media and with social media as well. Earlier today, I was talking about, you know, just how great of a tool social media can be, you know, if it's used wisely. But at the same time, though, it's also a really, really, really scary tool to use too. If you're a teenager, especially, I can't imagine being a teenager right now. You know, in 2019, I cannot even fathom what that kind of pressure has to be like. I mean, because obviously, like when you're in high school, when you're in grammar school, even when you're in middle school, you're gonna encounter bullying. You know, you're gonna encounter all that stuff.
Sure. And I encountered bullying.
Yeah, right. You knew how it was. Like back in the day, like, you know, somebody you know, talk about you in study hall. All right, I'm gonna meet you, you know, at lunch. I'm gonna pop you in the jaw.
Settle it. And you settle it.
Right, and leave it like that. But now it's like, but that's the thing though. Back then, the beef stayed at school. Like when the beef was just within those 6-7 hours of school. That's where the beef laid. When you went home, you were home. You were with family. You were with friends. You were with the video game. You were with your dog. You were good. But now that beef that's at school, that follows you to the crib. That's on your phone. That's on your laptop. That's on your tablet. That's everywhere now. So it's like you can't escape that. So even when you're going home and we are in a safe sanctuary, like your home, you're still pulling up your phone and you're still seeing everybody that's talking about you and going in on you in the worst way possible. That's why I'm just like, yo, teenagers mixed with 24/7 social media, all access on the worldwide platform. That is a lethal combination. And that's why like you hear people say, oh, these kids need to toughen up. Bro, you don't get what they're going through.
You don't get what they're going through.
Right? When you think about the semantics of like what they're dealing with on an everyday basis, that is an emotional like pile driver right there. Like that is an emotional jackhammer that they are facing every second of the day and such. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this is why I go back to encouragement goes so far. It goes so far, you know, it goes so far for so, you know, for so many. And that really is, you know, like what can, like, you know, get someone through, you know, what they're going through, knowing the fact that, you know, I have A, B, C, X, Y, Z going against me. But if I know that I have like this glimmer of light on this side, you know, that at least that glimmer of light is there for them. So this way they know that they always have that. And for them to have that kind of security, knowing that someone is there for me, even though the world over here is against me and such. And that really is critical.
It's so true. I mean, like when you said Columbine, that was my first experience too, because I remembered when I tried taking my life I had my accident in 90. And it was, you know, later on in that year that I had tried. My accident was June of 1990, and I think it was like September or October that I took the pills. And after that, though, I really realized what happens in that moment when someone is at that place. They just feel hopeless. You have a sense of hopelessness that bullying and whatever is in that one brief moment, you feel hopeless. And I was like, well, I want to learn more about how to help. So I started getting trained for grief counseling and like trauma and stuff. And when Columbine happened, I was supposed to go there to work with the kids to help process their grief because I had the training. But the job that I was working at didn't let me go. So I couldn't go. But it's so important nowadays for adults or for children to know that there's somewhere or some person that they can go to. So be that person. Be that person to talk to them, to ask them, hey, how you doing? If somebody comes to your mind, that's your subconscious telling you, hey, this person, reach out to them. Just say hello, whatever. You know what I mean? I think because of texting is so easy and inboxing on Facebook, I know I've fallen prey to that sometimes. I'll think about a friend and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about you. What are you doing? I've done it instead of picking up the phone. You know, we live in a time of like, we're just hustling all the time, but we've really come away from that personal interaction and personal touch, spending time with somebody, you know, like just, hey, let's hang out, you know, even if it's for 5 minutes. I just want to tell you that I'm thinking about you and you're important to me. It goes such a long way, you know, and even to a stranger, an act of kindness, buy them a cup of coffee, go to work tomorrow and buy the person that is too quiet, or maybe someone you don't like, buy them a cup of coffee, something, you know, break that. It's the world already has so much negativity. We don't need to be partakers of that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. There's no reason to indulge in any of that and actually like engage in any of that type of negativity and add to it. You know, we're all going through our own truculent times and such. Just do the best for each other and be kind to each other. Like something so cliche, like be kind to each other goes so incredibly far. And you know, going back to Luis, I mean that every person that you talk to in the Chicago acting community, everyone says the same thing: how great and golden of a heart he had, and how beautiful of a person he was. And we know this firsthand of how beautiful of a person he was as well too, and like really what he was capable of being able to really accomplish and such. And unfortunately, you know, we're not going to see that. But the thing is, though, this is what I told you before. You know, when we were talking on the phone the other day, is that at least he knows that, you know, like we don't know what exactly was that triggered him to, you know, to do what he did and to take his life, unfortunately. However, we know that when he thought of you, Benita, when he thought of me, when he thought of, you know, when he thought of the project he was on, the project that he just got done doing, Magic, when he thought about the other actors he was working with, when he thought about the other actors he worked with on Chicago PD and, you know, with Chicago Fire and working and being at Sin Space and working with 4-star casting and, you know, working with all these other, you know, great talented people. That always was, like I said earlier, that glimmer, that shine that was in his life. And so he is, you know, he left this world, but he left this world knowing at least that glimmer, that light was there for him. And he always will be able to look down on us knowing that love is always going to be there, and it always will be there as well too, and everything. I gotta wrap things up. You know, perfect. Benita, thank you so much, you know, for being a part of this and
thank you for having me on.
Seriously, and being very candid as you know as well too, and everyone out there that's listening, either, you know, on IntellectualRadio.com, on Facebook, on iHeart. If you need help, if you need to reach out to somebody, find that someone that you can reach out to. If you need to talk to someone professionally, please, like, you know, do that. You know, please seek counseling. If there are hotlines out there as well too. Unfortunately, I don't have a number on me right now to give. But there are. And
you know, it's not a sign of weakness to say that you need help. It's a sign of strength.
Yes.
Because there's always somebody around who will do anything to help you, no matter what.
Right.
It's just letting people know. And it's not that the person's weak. It's that the person is like, hey, I'm human. I'm not Superman. I'm not Superwoman. I need help.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. That's 100%. Please do that. And know and just know and understand that always loved when it comes to this side as well. You are always loved. Once again, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you for everyone in the chat. I see y'all and everything, and y'all be well. Benita, please be well. Be safe.
Yes.
I love you.
I love you.
And I love everyone else out there. And I'll see y'all in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, well,
all right.
See you later. Okay.
Right.
I turn up the party, yaddy. I turn up the party, yaddy. I turn up the party, yaddy.